Welcome back to the Fantasy Football School. Today's class, we're going to talk about the anatomy of the next Kyren Williams. As you may all know, or if you're new to fantasy football, Kyren Williams was a big league winner last year that was basically free. So, how can we find the next one, and why was he free? So I have two teams that can potentially produce a league-winning running back that is essentially free, which is basically the next Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams hard to duplicate, but there are situations in which something like Kyren Williams can arise. So what made Kyren Williams one of the biggest deals in fantasy football in 2023? So he was RB7 in PPR, 228 carries, 1144 yards, 5.02 yards per carry, 12 touchdowns, 48 targets, 32 receptions, 206 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And lo and behold, he did it in only 12 games. That is legendary elite fantasy production. So, I have two teams that essentially can produce the next Kyren Williams. But in order to present those teams, let's look at how the 2023 Rams running back room looked like and see if we can deduce the next team that can produce him. So basically, they had Cam Akers, Henderson, Kyren Williams, Zach Evans, highly recruited college prospect, I think drafted in the 5th or 6th round last year. And essentially a lot of analysts, fantasy football analysts, had him ahead of Kyren Williams before training camp, which rightfully so, because Kyren basically missed the whole season. His RAS, his athletic testing was so bad that he fell in the draft. But you could see his talent in Notre Dame, but a lot of people that can't see, players playing when they're hurt, they project through, their athletic ability, and unfortunately that was against Kyren Williams. And all throughout training camp, Kyren wasn't even mentioned as a potential starter. He's just there. And then boom, fantasy football destroyed by Kyren Williams. Like week 1, are like, oh, it's a fluke. Week 2, and then he just kept getting touches, and all of a sudden RB7 in 12 games. He missed some games because he was hurt. Came in, they added Royce Freeman, wasn't as good. They had Ronnie Rivers, which is basically a poor man's Kyren Williams, but not as good. So basically what this tells us is a potential Kyren lies in a very weak running back room. No one was entrenched in this 2023 running backs room. They had Akers coming off major injury, Henderson, who's essentially on and off, and then Zach Evans, who was a highly recruited prospect but did so bad in college that he fell all the way in the 5th round. Then Ronnie Rivers was like a camp darling. I think he made the team early on, and then they added Royce Freeman in the end. But anyways, looking at this running back room, you're like, all right, someone has to come out this, and everyone thought it was Akers. He was getting drafted early. Henderson has shown flashes, but eventually Kyren led that room from beginning to end, except when he was hurt, obviously. So there are two really weak running back room in the NFL at this current training camp session. Two teams by week. I mean, there's no entrenched legit RB1, basically a wide open room. They might have a favorite to win the lead back, but he doesn't really scare anyone. So team 1, got the Los Angeles Chargers, basically brought in a whole new running back room here. They got Gus Edwards, 2-year deal. J.K. Dobbins coming off Achilles. Kamon Vidal, 5th round pick, I think. 5th, 6th out of Troy. Then Jared Patterson getting some camp hype right now. Apparently he's the backup running back to J.K. Dobbins because Gus missed the beginning of training camp. And then we got Isaiah Spiller, who's been completely useless. This dude, I don't think he belongs in the NFL, dude. Too slow to be an outside runner. Not good enough to be an inside runner. The only thing keeping him is he was a 4th round pick. He's still young. He could still break out, you know, get his body right. But I mean, looking at his body of work in the NFL, I don't see it so far. And then we got Elijah Dotson, preseason darling 2023. I still believe in him. Probably not gonna make the team, but hey, he was amazing last year in preseason, so we'll see. So I can see any path for any of these players should be the starting. And the good thing about these players, they're all cheap, basically everywhere in any form of fantasy. Redraft, best ball, dynasty. You're not spending much for any of these players. I just saw Gus go for a 3rd round pick in dynasty. J.K. Dobbins like late. Vidal late in best ball. Jared Patterson just came out of nowhere. Basically, the only draftable players right now are Gus, J.K., and Vidal. Gus and J.K. are not great pass catching options throughout their career. And then with J.K., no one's coming back from Achilles injury ever had a productive season the following year. Maybe next year, but based on history, J.K. probably not going to be productive this year. And Vidal, small school, late round pick. He still has the most potential. He's basically the most well-rounded back here. He's a good pass catcher, pretty good powerful runner in between the tackles. But the thing is, he did it in Troy, so I don't know. He has to adjust to NFL speed eventually. And then Jared Patterson bounced around, but I mean, I remember Patterson. He had some legit camp hype his rookie year with the Washington Commanders. And then Dotson, practice squad player, like I said last year, had that amazing run in the preseason, made the team. Fortunately, he didn't get much touches after that, and he did get 10 carries, but he didn't really show any promise. But hey, 2nd year in the system, or at least in the team, maybe he'll show something. And Spiller hasn't shown any modicum of flashes. I don't know what he's good at. For his college tape, he looked amazing. He looked fast, but then he tested pretty bad, just like Kyren Williams. And then the touches he's had in the league are just doesn't really. I don't know, man. I think he's done, but hey, he's still young. He's still got time. So anyway, in this team, I like Vidal because he has an all-around skill set. Not sure if he's ready for the NFL speed early on, but midway through the season, with JK and Gus being injury prone, there's a chance for Vidal if he wins that RB3 job. But I do like Elijah Dotson as my dark horse, dark horse lottery ticket. And Patterson, with the hype he's getting, he can potentially be the RB3 entering the season. So we'll see. But right now, Gus is the obvious choice. Like a single in baseball. JK with the injury history, they're both like single. They'll get carries, but they won't get that 30-point game or that 20 plus touches average. They'll get 10, 12, early down. But like I said, the home run pick here is Kamana Vidal. Like everybody in Dynasty, Kamana Vidal is their sleeper, and I agree. And he can be had for cheap. So, like I said, Gus, JK are the true options. Vidal, the home run. And then, what else? Jared Patterson, the hype. Then moving on to team 2 here. We got the Dallas Cowboys, another wide open running back room. As open as the Chargers. But they do have a legit running back at the top of the depth chart right now. By legit, he's better than Gus, JK, and Vidal, but not by much, because He is at the end of his career. Just lost a step. We got Zeke. Then Rico Dowdle is getting a lot of camp hype. Royce Freeman apparently looks good, but Freeman, I don't see it. He's like Freeman hasn't really flashed any of that dynamic thing. Sure, he's a good, third on the depth chart, but starting running back, doubt it. Rico, we haven't really seen much of him. He's shown a little bit of flashes, but we'll see an undrafted free agent. He could still be the guy. And then we got Deuce Vaughn, short king, baby, let's go. But I mean, he's too small to be that 15 plus touches guy, and best case scenario he gets 10 touches, and then it's gonna be a committee, so that doesn't really scream Kyren Williams to me. But hey, prove me wrong, Deuce. I still have you in a couple dynasty leagues, so I mean, he's still the wild card. So anyways, but one of the more obvious option here is they will add a player, potentially gets cut, but best case scenario they trade for a player, just like Khalil Herbert, one of those better backup running backs in the league. So right now I got Zeke as the favorite, in addition to trade or free agency as a close second, and then Rico Dowdle, because I haven't seen much of Rico. I've seen probably like 10 carries, and he's just like, okay, he's definitely NFL caliber, but I don't think he's starting running back caliber. So, but then again, Cowboys are allegedly going all in for a Super Bowl. So if that was the case, you can't be going into the season with Zeke as your RB1, although he can probably carry the load early on. But I mean, he's not an elite running back anymore. At least he's shown he's still capable last year with the Patriots, but I don't know, man. Maybe. I am trying to trade for Zeke in a lot of dynasty league. I did draft him in a couple of bestball leagues, so hey, I got hope for Zeke, but there's better options out there that they can potentially add on the team. So anyways, so those are the two obvious team where a Kyren Williams type running back will come out and smash in fantasy. The two most open wide receiver room, the two rooms where their leading rusher right now potentially is Gus Edwards and Zeke Elliott, which are at best RB2 on a good team. So if you're looking for the next Kyren Williams, anybody on that team is a potential Kyren Williams. So good luck trying to trade for those, draft for those. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.